Last week we talked about reading a primary source document. Today, Monday, I know it's 7 a.m. and you guys are tired, but I know we're going to talk about the Neolithic Revolution and how it fundamentally changed human life, as you might have read about. So, first, I want you to think about a time recently, and we'll do show of hands so that we don't have to talk about it, that you had absolutely fresh food. Like you picked a vegetable, or you picked a fruit, or somebody else picked a fruit, or killed an animal, and then you ate it right there. Raise your hand if that was today. Raise your hand if that was this week. Raise your hand if that was this month. Year. Okay. Raise your hand if you can remember a time you did that. No. Okay. Good. That actually helps my point. And next point. Can you think of the last time that you slept outside? Again, show of hands. Or in a shelter that you made yourself. Today? No, thank goodness. This week? This month? This year? Okay, at all? No. So, you are lucky to live in modern times because as a hunter-gatherer, 10,000-ish years ago, depending upon, roughly how far you want to go back, you would have had to find all of your food fresh or just kill it with your bare hands, which would be no fun. And you would just get to sleep outside or underneath branches that you piled on top of yourself. And you would need to travel around a lot to find any of those branches or food to kill. So, moving on, the Neolithic Revolution comes around. And so, like I said, 10,000 years ago, gradually, you start to get yourself towns and settlements with buildings to sleep in. Around water. Always around water. Rivers specifically, and we'll say which rivers in a second. You can grow and store surplus food. You can domesticate plants and animals for the first time. All of this is a cooperative effort, it's important to point out. You just don't have all this knowledge yourself. People help each other to do these things around 10,000 years ago. Before that, they just killed each other a lot, I guess. And so, you don't have to constantly search for food and sleep on rocks outside anymore, as of around 9,000 years ago, 10,000. Suddenly, things are very different as far as big masses of people all together in one place. Instead of just moving around and occasionally you see a person way over there, it's like a bunch of people all in one place. Cities of 5,000 people are popping up suddenly, and you have control over your environment, so you start tearing it up. You're digging irrigation ditches because you want to water your crops. You're cutting down forests because you want to plant your crops. You're domesticating animal and plant populations because those are your crops. It's really all about crops in this time period. Farming is the motif. And that leads to civilization, kind of. The switch means that now people have what we think of as actual laws and societies and civilization, and this is one of the early ones right here in the Fertile Crescent. And if you can in your mind picture a world map around this actually is where we would have Iraq and stuff nowadays. I guess Iran is marked on here, but yeah, the Caspian Sea, over there's your Mediterranean Sea, and right in the middle there is just this super fertile place to grow crops. It's really easy. It also shrinks your diet a lot because you start eating the same corn and whatever that you grow instead of walking around and just picking up stuff and eating it and hoping you don't die. So, this was the kind of place you could live now. Catalhoyuk. I've never known how to say it. It's got a lot of umlauts. We won't try. It's in Turkey, and so however I say it, I'm going to do it wrong. But you could live there. Gives us a little bit of a better idea as to the location. Fertile Crescent, again. Catalhoyuk looked like that. Notably, there were no streets. Everybody's house had a door on the roof, kind of, and was built really tightly together, and you just clambered over the tops of all the houses. I think it helped keep them warm. I don't know why they did that. I really don't. All of the houses had chimneys and fireplaces, and so you can see smoke coming out of the top. This is a drawing, clearly, no aerial photographs. In 10,000 BC. Catalhoyuk was around 7,500 BC. Looks like that now. It's way less cool, less of a vacation destination than it was in 9000, but you still might want to go. You could live somewhere like Jericho after the Neolithic Revolution, which, as you can see, is not too far from our friend Hallelujah. And Jericho's over there on the other side of your Fertile Crescent from Sumer. And it looked like that in ancient times. Really big walls, really big tower in the middle. Nobody knows why, but it's notable. I mean, it's notable. They took a lot of time to build it. Took at least 100 guys, at least 100 years to build the whole thing. Somebody figured out. So I don't know. That's it looks like that now, just like the other place. It's just it's wrecked. It's a hole in the ground. But nearby, there's actual Jericho. You can still go there. And so I didn't make a last slide, but what we learned was that life changed a lot for you if you were a hunter-gatherer who was alive around the time of the Neolithic Revolution, which could have been a span of 5,000 years, anywhere from 10,000 to 5,000 BC. And the major changes that came around for that were storing food in your house, sleeping in a house, and not having to wander around all the time. Thank you guys so much.